In this on-location video, the Italiano and I were breaking down the Walt Disney World D23 announcements. There was a lot. Walt Disney World had a ton of announcements. We're going to go through each one, break them down, talk about it. Up next on OG55. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG55. We're talking all about Walt Disney World. Now, I do want to say one thing before we start. I did quit alcohol. This, if you see me drinking this is not alcohol. This is a 0%. So OG is going strong with the no alcohol thing. I did quit. But, hey, I like me some beer, so why not get something that tastes like beer that doesn't have the alcohol? But, George, welcome back, sir. Long time no see, man.
I know. It's been a while. I mean, like, it's been, like, since across the other side of the room.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. We got both of us got the black shirts on today. We're doing it Death Row Record style. You know, thank God it's Friday. But if you let everybody home know where they can find you on social media, sir.
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And, of course, you can find me right here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
Sticky. There we go. You gotta love Kiss of Life. You gotta love them. They're awesome. So let's dive right in, George. Walt Disney World, big announcements. Here we go. Now, this was crazy. This was absolutely crazy, this Villains Land announcement.
I just have to say really quick before you take over. I've been a huge fan of Disney doing something with the villains for over a decade. Almost 2 decades. I've wanted them to do something with villains. And when Josh got into the Beyond Big Thunder segment, which we'll get into that also in a little bit as well, and he didn't mention the villains, and I thought another shutdown, you know, and then it's like nothing, and then they got into the Epic Games and everything. They started talking about like Marvel and Avengers Campus, and I thought, okay, it's done and over with. And then right at the very end, the final countdown announcement.
One more thing.
Boom.
You know what I'm saying? Now, this is interesting. Villains Land. First of all, the concept art looks absolutely. Yeah, thank you, George. The concept art looks absolutely breathtaking. Now, again, don't get mentally, like we said in the other videos, don't get mentally married to concept art. It is concept art, and that goes for Universal too. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, the way they set these up with the sky and the whole thing, it's not going to look like that in real life. Let's be honest, okay? But this land in general, if it turns out anything like this, is an absolute game changer. Yeah. Now, here's the thing. Fans have been saying for years, what's Disney's response to Universal going to be about Epic Universe? What are they going to do, right? Here's the thing. One of the most anticipated lands for Epic Universe is Dark Universe, based on the classic Universal's monsters. George and I have done videos on that land, fawned over that land. We're both excited for that land. It's probably the most anticipated thing for us and a lot of people for Epic Universe is that Dark Universe land. Disney is taking that Dark Universe vibe. Absolutely. They're not doing this sugary version of the villains. This isn't Kittyland here, okay? We're getting a Dark Universe-esque version of the Disney villains at Magic Kingdom. Mm-hmm. You know, this is an issue. This is an issue for Universal. I'm telling you guys right now, because look, while Frankenstein and the Wolfman are recognizable, they're not exactly a powerhouse franchise. Okay, yeah, I mean, do they move merch? Not like the villains. I'm sorry, they don't. They don't move merch like the Disney villains do. This is going to be serious competition, in my opinion, for that park. What do you say, sir?
Absolutely, and I've said it many times on the channel. Yeah, I don't want this sugary coated, cookie cutter, Candy Crush, diluted, watered down version of the villains. I wanted something raw. I wanted something dark. I wanted something edgy. I wanted something bloody. I wanted something destructive.
A twist, kind of like we wanted a twisted fantasy land, and that's exactly what we got.
Which was actually funny because the Magic Mirror used that term
Oh, they did? I don't remember that.
He said that's when he said this twisted land. And then Tomorrow said, I'm not talking about that land. Like he was kind of like playing off of it. But I think honestly, based off this concept art with the Forbidden Mountain, with Maleficent's fortress in the background, if that's going to be the centerpiece, it's going to be phenomenal. The rock work, the jagged thorns, which I'll get to that in a bit. And I also am looking at this kind of like little watering kind of hole there. I hope that is real, but I think if they wanted to do something that's kind of like really villainesque, that you have that water, but they have projections in it, so it looks like the underworld.
Oh, that's cool.
With the souls going down into the.
That would be really cool. And the water too is important because this is the Cars area, and villains are replacing that Rivers of America area in Magic Kingdom. So I think it's important. Look, one of the big losses I think for the getting rid of the Rivers of America is the water element of it. Yeah. I think that Magic Kingdom, is a very, I don't know. I've only been once, but it was a very hot park. Yeah. A lot of cement and concrete and things like that. So I think that having a water element to, look, it's not as much water, obviously, as the Rivers of America, but at least we're adding some water to the equation. And I think that's important. So I hope the water stays with this, and I hope it doesn't get cut. I don't think it will, but I love that element of it. So looks incredible. Go ahead.
And Josh did mention that there is going to be 2 attractions added into this land. However, he didn't go into the details of what that could be, but we kind of have a little bit of an idea what one of them would be. And I think it's safe to say it would be the e-ticket of this land. If you look over onto the left side, right where I'm pointing the cursor, you can kind of see kind of like a roller coaster track intertwining with like these jagged thorns and branches that I think it's going to be based off of Maleficent, and maybe like with the Forbidden Mountain, not Forbidden Journey. Sorry, wrong studio, folks. And then maybe have like the finale where you come face to face with Maleficent as the dragon. Yeah, like, that would be so cool.
And this is proof that really nothing really dies at Disney. Like they have been throwing this idea around for decades, like decades. Not just a land. There were even ideas of like a whole park based on the villains. Now I think a whole park was a little overboard. Yeah, I don't know if you can do that for a whole park. But look, here's the other thing. Disney's making big moves for Halloween. Disney's making, and our friend Jack from DSNY brought this up, and I think it's a fantastic point. Between this land, which is obviously built for Halloween, let's be real, right? Yeah. But even the Cars Land area that they're building over there. Here in California, Raider Springs, they celebrate all the holidays, and they do a lot of really cute sort of like Cars themed Halloween stuff. It's like
the Happy Halloween.
Yes, Halloween things. And I'm sure Magic Kingdom will probably see that kind of decor. So Disney's making a big move, a big play for Halloween between this and Cars.
And I think a lot of people too, they are kind of, and I'm actually kind of in this boat. I'm kind of like underwhelmed with the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. I feel like that they haven't really done anything differently over the past few years. I do enjoy them doing the Hocus Pocus Spooktacular show at the Castle forecourt stage. But other than that, it's basically kind of like a little bit kiddie kind of trick-or-treat thing. I think like adding like the villains to it, it puts it on the map to kind of go head to head with like Oogie Boogie Bash.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They're not going to go gory and crazy like Universal does, but they can do the Oogie Boogie Bash route, which is a little darker, definitely, than what you guys get in Magic Kingdom usually. Yeah. So this is fantastic. This is it. Look, fans wanted this. That when Daddy Josh trotted this out 2 years ago as a Blue Sky, the fans went nuts for it. Absolutely nuts for it. We've been saying now for 2 years since that day that Disney would be nuts for not doing this. And this is a big move, you guys. And I'm telling you, like I said before, we keep hearing from the fans, what's Disney's response to Epic Universe going to be? Well, this is a heavy-handed response, you guys. And I think people are really, there's so much complaining and bitching and all that on Twitter about a lot of this stuff. I think people are really underestimating how strong Disney is responding to Universal. I mean, between this and the Cars thing, these are powerhouse IPs here that they're throwing up against Universal. You know what I'm saying?
They are.
Look, Universal does have an IP problem. You know what I'm saying? And I've been saying this for years. You know, I mean, How to Train Your Dragon it's a great movies. I mean, fantastic movies, but they're not. It's not a franchise that's moving a shitload of merch, probably. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, Disney's bringing out the big guns with this.
Yeah.
Between the villains, I heard Cars moves all kinds of merch. Like, it's one of the best selling IP in Disney's, flywheel.
It
is Cars. So these lands, Disney's going for Universal's throat. You guys, they are absolutely going for the throat. Do not underestimate what they're doing over here. What say you?
Yeah, I think honestly, this is the right move. And we also have to, and we did mention this in a previous video. I'm not going to touch upon it too much. If you want to check it out, watch the full video that we just recently released.
Yeah.
That this Villains Land is going to be part of the removal process of the Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island. So I'm sorry, as much as nostalgic as it could be for people, yes, it is very organic. It is very tranquil with the waterway. If they add more water into here, if they add water into the Cars area, it'll offset that. But
I think so.
Unfortunately, yeah, you kind of have to give or take. Like, what do you want? And I'm sorry, folks, I want Villains Land. I'm sorry.
Well, it is about give or take here. If you're going to tell Disney, you know what, we want you to build, we want you to invest. Like I keep hearing fans say they want Disney to invest in these parks. Okay, investment comes with possibly losing something you enjoy. That's the reality of the situation. Investment, like, it's crazy to me that I keep hearing from fans they want Disney to go big, you know, balls to the wall investments and spend money and put all kinds of stuff into these parks. But then the minute they put anything in or announce anything, it's like, well, don't touch that. Well, don't put it there. It's like, you guys, like, do you want stuff added or not? Okay. Do you want stuff added or not? I know it sucks to lose things. I get it. It sucks. Right. But there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that we're not aware of. And we will do a video on that because that Bill Zanetti, I think his name is, broke down exactly why they're getting rid of the Rivers of America. There's a lot to that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But yeah, if you're going to turbocharge these parks, you know, you're going to want to, you're going to have to understand that, you know, it might come at a price. There might be something that gets removed, and that's just the way that the ball bounces in a lot of ways, you know. And the thing too, I think that as fans, we just sort of have to understand that these parks were designed from the beginning with Walt to evolve. So if you have a hard time with change, I don't know, maybe the Disney parks aren't really for you because that's what they're designed to do. These are not museums, you guys. These are not meant to be wrapped in bubble wrap and preserved as is forever, you know? So
yeah. Absolutely. And before we move on, as Josh Damaro ended it, he, and I quote, he said to us all, be prepared, you poor unfortunate souls.
Which is interesting. I wanted to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
Is that a hint at an Ursula and a Scar ride?
There's two rides. So I think one is going to be Maleficent. I'm wondering if one is going to be like the other ride and another could possibly be maybe like a restaurant.
Maybe.
But I think it could be a play on what else is going to be in this.
I think that was a hint. I think that was a hint at what other elements are going to be involved here. And those are two great villains. Those are some of the greatest of Disney villains. Yeah. Scar is such an evil bastard. You know what I'm saying? And Ursula. So yeah, those are the villains you want to see in this land. Maleficent.
My ex-wife.
Yeah, his ex-wife. Put him in there. You know what I'm saying? Put all the villains in there, you know? So let's scroll on down. We got Cars theme.
Now here we go. Yeah, here's the other part of the equation, folks, for the Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island.
Yeah, so this is interesting, right? So we're getting water elements here. Obviously, it's not going to be as much water as Rivers of America. I believe this is themed to like the Rocky Mountains.
Yes. So
it's the Rocky Mountains, and then Big Thunder is heavily inspired by Utah, I believe. So they're kind of going in that outdoorsy sort of like new frontier, you know, and I get it. They were really massaging the frontier land theme. I get it. But that's the route they're going in.
Yeah.
I want to say this. I said this in the other video. I'm going to say it again. I'm telling you right now, the concept art that we got for our Raider Springs Racers looked very similar to this, right? You look at it, and it's like, okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It looked good, but it's not like anything that blows you away. I will say though, in execution, Cars Land at DCA is one of the most beautiful, one of the most breathtaking lands that Disney has ever done. The grand reveal the Cadillac range and all that is absolutely stunning. I mean, if you're a Floridian and you haven't been to DCA and experienced Cars Land, I think you're in for a real treat. If they put the same love and detail and ambition into this thing, it's going to be absolutely visually breathtaking. And I know I see a lot of people on Twitter like, well, it's cartoon cars, right? And you're right. I'm not going to say it's not. They're cartoon cars. But the scenery that you see in like these cars lands, like you do over in California, is breathtaking. And it's the scenery isn't cartoony. I know it's molded like the Cadillac fins and things like that, much like Grizzly Peak was molded after a grizzly bear, but it still feels organic and still feels real. You're going to have a lot of that realness in this land with the rock work. It's going to be absolutely stunning. I'm telling you, this is exciting, and they didn't cut and paste it. No, that was my biggest concern.
That was mine too.
Yep, with Radiator Springs, they were going to just cut and paste. That would have been a terrible idea. This is its Disney World's own thing. And it also separates Magic Kingdom from Disneyland a lot more. When I went to Magic Kingdom for the first time last summer, it felt like a weak version of Disneyland. It felt like Disneyland Light. It felt like kind of like Tower of Terror at DCA. It was like it's the same element, but it just feels lesser.
Yeah.
You know, it was like I said before, Magic Kingdom feels like the live action Disneyland. Okay. It checks all the boxes, but it doesn't feel the same. This gives Magic Kingdom its own identity more so, I think. And
now than ever.
Now than ever. And it separates itself from Disneyland and being like that light version of Disneyland. So I don't know. I like it. But look, I respect. Look, if you are upset over the Rivers of America, I respect that. I understand that. This is a big change for a Disney park. And I understand that. But look, change happens with these parks, and we kind of have to roll with it. There's nothing we can really do about it, and just hope that Disney really comes through. They have to deliver, though. Disney has to deliver with the aesthetics. If you're going to replace the Rivers of America and how gorgeous that area is, you better come through, Disney, with this rock work. You better blow our minds. It has to look fantastic. You can't do cheap on this. Correct. I mean, if you're replacing that, you got to go big. So.
And also, too, you're not only like removing something that has a more natural, organic, tranquil kind of feel to it, but you're also, even though it is a different storyline, you're also pinning this against Cars Land over at DCA.
Right. So the comparisons.
Yeah. So, I mean, it has some heavy shoes to fill. And Disney, I'm for sure Disney is well aware of that. And again, if you go back to what OG was saying, like if you go back and look at the concept art that they did for Cars Land, when they showcased it, I believe it was like 2007.
Right.
It kind of looked like this. It was very choppy.
It looked like this. It looked very like, okay, I'm telling you that in execution, and if done with the same level of care that they did for DCA, right? That's the caveat, right? But if done with the same level of care as the original Cars Land, I don't think Floridians will be disappointed.
I don't think
some of the best rock work ever done for any Disney park, hands down. The grand reveals going from San Francisco into Cars Land, when you go underneath that rock work kind of like tunnel or archway, and it reveals the whole the mountain range, stunning. I mean, honestly, kind of like almost like on par, like with a Pandora almost. I mean, it's that visually impressive.
Like, yeah, exactly.
So if they can mimic that here, but they can't cheap out. So we'll see. I do notice one thing though. I do see an Italian in the crowd.
Oh yeah.
There we go. Let's mosey on down to
okay. So this is the overall scope, of Cars Land. Now I do believe, really quick, I just want to make sure. Now Villains Land, I think, is going to be north of where the Cars Land is.
Right.
So I think it's going to be further up.
Right. It's
on the other side.
Correct.
Of Frontierland. Yeah.
Correct. All right, here we go. New nighttime parade. This is what I'm talking about in the other video. When I hear all these fans complaining about, oh my gosh, it's like they're giving us a nighttime parade at Walt Disney World. How many years have we been begging for this? Begging for this. Credit where it's due. They listen. You're getting a new nighttime parade. It says here we'll be making its way down Main Street, USA in the summer of 2025. So next summer.
Disney Starlight.
Disney Starlight kind of reminds me a little bit of a modern sort of take on the electrical parade with the blue fairy, which is very, very cool. I don't know. I'm excited. I love the Disney nighttime parades. I wish we would get our Paint the Night back, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's been a long time coming for Walt Disney World to get a nighttime parade since we lost Spectra Magic, excuse me. So yeah, it's definitely nice to see a nighttime parade come back. It's definitely nice to see an original new concept. We're not just getting Spectra Magic. But I also do think that Disneyland is going to get a new nighttime show, or at least maybe Paint the Night for the 70th. I think we touched upon that a little bit with the Disneyland portion.
Yeah, I think Paint the Night is really a strong possibility. Yeah. I think it's a strong possibility for Disneyland. From what I've heard, I think it was from Fresh Baked a while ago, like a year or two ago. He saw the floats on property.
Right. So
okay, the floats are on property. We're probably going to get Paint the Night at one point.
And there's never a coincidence at Disney.
Yeah, exactly. So in the 70th, it would be a perfect time to do that. And like we said in our Disneyland video, they didn't announce everything for the 70th. Obviously, they were holding back, okay? You don't want to totally, like, not to be crude, but you don't want to totally bust your whole load, right? You kind of want to save some elements for future drops. You know, you don't want to announce everything at the expo and just give all of it away at once. You want to kind of, a little bit save some special stuff for later.
That's true.
They might have a Disneyland 70th anniversary sort of special event where they kind of talk about this is what we're doing for the event and yada, yada, yada. They might even still be ironing out some of the details to it. They might not even fully know. So, but nighttime parade at Walt Disney World, come on, you guys. We've been wanting this. It's going to include Disney stories, including Peter Pan, Frozen, and Encanto. So, fascinating stuff. All right, let's move on.
So this is another element for the parade. This is the Encanto.
Encanto works, by the way, beautifully in a nighttime parade.
Yeah, absolutely.
This franchise with the colors, the music, you can't. It's just perfect, dude. Absolutely perfect. All right, here we go. Pirates Tavern. Yes. The new swashbuckling lounge, which was first announced last year at Destination D23, will invite buccaneers to toast to the pirate life with a, quote, seaworthy selection of grogs and grub, end quote. I love the first thing I want to point out, the giant anchor overhead with the candles on it. That looks dope.
Yeah, that does.
Yeah, I really like that. Now, this is serving alcohol, right?
I believe so. Yes, this will be. I think will be serving alcohol.
Yeah, and that's the thing when you do there's certain themes that sort of like you need to involve the alcohol. Like it's a pirate bar, like a pirate lounge. You got to have alcohol.
Absolutely.
Come on.
Yeah.
You can't be serving Dole Whips in here. You got to, come on.
Bring on the gusto.
Yeah, exactly. So looks fantastic. Any thoughts on this before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I think we need a lot more kind of aesthetically pleasing kind of like small entertainment things over in Adventureland. I feel Adventureland is kind of like bleak when it comes to that kind of stuff, especially since we do have over at Walt Disney World Pirates of the Caribbean Light. It's basically Disneyland's Pirates of the Caribbean circumcised. So to actually add this across the way from the attraction, I feel like we'll definitely put it a different perspective and add a little bit more entertainment to a ride that basically is like half mass. No pun intended.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm excited. This looks really good. Absolutely. Yeah. So we're gonna mosey on down to Animal Kingdom. Oh yeah, Tropical Americas, Indy and the Madrigals are officially heading to Animal Kingdom in 2027 when the Tropical Americas will take over Dinoland USA. Yep. Animal Kingdom, when I went to Disney World, was the park I fell in love with. Okay, loved this park. There are if you're a vibes over rides kind of guy like I am, Animal Kingdom is your jam. You know what I'm saying? But the Dinoland area felt very cheap to me because the whole park feels very organic and real and rooted in reality kind of. Yes. But then you go into Dino Land and everything's plastic and fake. It was, for me personally, it was a very jarring kind of experience to kind of turn that corner and experience that. This kind of brings this area into the fold, into the rest of the park.
And so, the whole thing entirely will be 11 acres.
Which is big, dude.
That's big.
That's big. And beautiful new carousel featuring, I think, various IP, right?
Various IP, like different animals and critters throughout the Disney animation catalog, which is really cool. Which they did showcase Kevin from Up at D20 at the D23 fan event, that he's going to be one of the animals used for the carousel. So yeah, it's very like authentic yet regal. But I think it's really cool that they kind of like
beautiful, absolutely beautiful. A little more
look
artwork.
At this. Like, and this is the other thing too. They're kind of showcasing this at night, like in the concept art. And I hope Disney sticks with that, because Animal Kingdom closes hella early, like 5, 6 p.m. before the sun even sets. So I would love to see what this would look like at night, and like really what this land could do for the park.
Yeah. Now here's Indy, which is currently the dinosaur attraction.
But yes,
I love this. It's going with a Mayan temple kind of vibe. Josh said we will get a new storyline for this one. Excuse me. We don't have a storyline. He didn't give us a storyline, right? But I think it's awesome. I think it's cool to get a different adventure.
I think very briefly, like he said, it's a Mayan temple. So Indiana Jones, I think they had a kind of like a relic kind of thing that summons a creature that lives within the temple.
Gotcha.
And Indy is very curious to see what that creature is.
That's perfect. So they're tying in the animal element of, to the park. This is freaking dope, dude. I can't wait for this. Now we're getting an Indiana Jones attraction in the new age.
Yes.
Our Indiana Jones here in California was 1995. Okay. And Tokyo was what, 2001?
Yes.
So good. So this is a modern take on this Indiana Jones attraction. We're going to get all the bells and whistles, I'm assuming, with the technology, which will be very, very fun. I mean, look, dude, this is a step up from Dinosaur.
And you have to think too, what a brand new kind of audio animatronic for Indiana Jones would be.
Exactly. We got these animatronics now, like the Elsa and these very Rapunzel, very fluid animatronics now that they can really bring it in. So, and then this is the Encanto attraction, the Encanto house. Now we didn't get too much detail though into the attraction itself, right?
The only thing that they had mentioned was
Antonio's
it's going to be that you go through the house, but the finale is in Antonio's
and it turns into a rainforest, which could potentially be really breathtaking as a dark ride.
Now this is what I'm trying to figure out, because a lot of people are saying it's a boat ride.
No,
but it doesn't.
No, it's not a boat ride, because here, look, these people are facing a different direction than these. It's clear these are individual vehicles. This isn't like one long boat. This looks like this vehicle is facing a different direction.
Like it's going to keep turning as.
That's the impression I'm getting. So I don't think it's a boat. I hope it's not a boat. Well, you're going into the house. It can't be a boat.
It can't be a boat.
Yeah, it can't be a boat ride. Now, there might be the illusion of it floating on water when you hit Antonio's room and it turns into a rainforest. Maybe your ride vehicles start to do this, like you're going down a river. But the ride itself, I'm pretty certain, will be
like the Mystic Manor,
like a Mystic Manor or something like that. I also do want to say a shout out to two people. Our friend Kaylee,
who
loves capybaras. And the legendary and the one and only Jenny from Blackpink, who is the capybara ambassador. So it's awesome to see them getting some,
show them some love.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the model. Looks beautiful. This is going to fit amazingly in Animal Kingdom. Come on. This is absolutely incredible. And again, big shout out to Andy Castro, Dateline Disneyland, micechat.com. He does the best work when it comes to photography.
I mean,
the best. Gorgeous, dude. Absolutely stunning with the candle in the window. I love it. I absolutely love it. So,
and then this is the whole
shebang
model of the land.
Huge improvement. Again, and that's what I'm saying. There's so much good stuff, you guys, that we got at this expo. I just, it's hard for me to. I see so much anger out there.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I don't understand it. Now, look, if they don't follow through with any of this stuff, or like it comes out super cheap looking, then we're that's a whole other conversation. But now, do you want to touch upon? I know because this is pretty much the end of the Disney World stuff. Do you want to touch upon your opinions on the cruise line?
Yeah, absolutely.
We did forget one. Okay, Zootopia. So this thing is coming into the Tree of Life.
Yeah. Better Zootopia. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're bringing the Pixar Better Together over to the
Better Zootopia. Now go down a little bit. This is what worries me. Okay, right here. You go. I love this franchise.
Oh, I do too.
I love Zootopia.
I do too.
But this isn't it, you guys. This isn't it. This is one of the things I was really disappointed about, because here's the thing: you go into the Tree of Life and you're going to see a concert. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense in that like maybe they can massage it and make it look.
See, this would have been perfect for like Hollywood studios.
Yes,
like a concert, like going to see.
Well, I would go big. Like Hollywood studios, I would have done Zootopia, just straight up Zootopia.
Just a straight up Zootopia.
I mean, that's what I would have done. But we are getting. Oh wait, you know what? We're not done with the announcements we got Monstropolis still too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we still got it.
Yeah, which is cool. But yeah, this was a kind of an underwhelming thing. We were kind of hoping that they were going to cancel this, but it doesn't look like they are.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, unfortunately, but however, I did get to experience It's Tough to Be a Bug, if that's going to be my last time to see the show. And I also was able to get on Dinosaur. But I think we're going to have a little bit more time with Dinosaur, because I think that they're going to do the Tropical Americas in phases. And I think Josh said that they're going to give people enough ample time to experience Dinosaur one last time. So I feel like that Encanto is going to be the phase 1, and Indiana Jones is going to be the phase 2. As far as with the Zootopia show, I think probably sooner than later, It's Tough to Be a Bug is going to be gone. I'm trying to see if it said debuting in winter 20. Oh, so the end of 2025. Okay, so we still have some time for people to see It's Tough to Be a Bug as well.
Yeah. So we'll see. New Banshees landing in Animal Kingdom. So there's some of the merchandise. Oh, they didn't. Oh, here we go. So Disney's Hollywood Studios, Monsters Inc. Land. They brought out Billy Crystal. Now let's look at this. This has been another controversy.
Yes.
Now, from what I've heard, okay, now I could be wrong, but I saw this on social media today. This is old concept art for this land from 2020. Yeah. Now people are freaking out that they're going to replace the Muppets area because of this right here. I think this building and this water tower.
Yeah, that was part of the courtyard.
Right. So this is what I'm hearing, that this is old art. Okay. And that it's possible that they're not even sure yet where they're going to put this.
Correct. Because I had spoken to an Imagineer 12 years ago when they were still doing the Dining with an Imagineer at the Hollywood Brown Derby. Imagineer Gary Landrum, I had asked him the question, and I said, this is when I was listening to Jim Hill and everything, and people were talking about, oh, there's a rumor that Monsters Inc. is coming to the studios and everything. So, and then it got put on delayed, then it got canceled. So I asked Gary, and he said that yes, very much so. They had plans, they had concept art, and I think that this could maybe possibly be, even though they said 2020, but it could have been a newer rendition of what they had back in 2011, 2012, around the time when Monsters University was being in production at Pixar.
Right.
That they said everything was kind of working, but then budget cuts, and at the time they wanted a sponsor for the land or the attraction that they were doing, and it basically got shelved up until now. So
smart move. It's a smart move. So this is another thing, another response to Epic Universe. Okay, for those who are hungry for a response, this is going to be big with the kiddos.
Yeah,
I mean, the big time.
But I do have to mention too, and I'm probably going to get heat for this. I love the Muppets. Don't get me wrong. I love A Muppet Christmas Carol. I love Muppet Treasure Island. I love the original Muppet movie. I love the Muppet Show. I grew up with them. I watched Muppet Babies, for crying out loud. But yes, it does, it does eat. It is a people eater, the Muppet Vision 3D, where you get people to go in from the heat, cool down, watch the show. It is part of the legendary brilliance of Jim Henson, that was the final piece of him, you know, to actually do something with his craft and his art with the Muppets before his untimely passing.
Right.
However, as time progresses, I still don't know, as an overall broad with traveling families and tourism, of how much the needle moves with the Muppets.
Yeah, it's a franchise which I love and adore. I think the Muppets are a beautiful franchise. They are national, global treasures.
Yes,
they are. I love the Muppets, but we got to be honest with ourselves as fans. You know, how big are the Muppets for the normies?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Is it a hot thing? It really isn't. You know, and I don't know. I mean, it's a tough call. It really is. But yeah, I can understand. I know there's a lot of anger over, you know, the possibility of losing the Muppets, and I understand that. I get it.
I definitely get it too.
But I also understand why Disney would do it. Right. Also, I mean, it's not really a relevant franchise right now, and you know. And
honestly, this this is the now they showcased this. Now, did they say that this was also part of 2020?
That one I'm not really sure. But that one I can't really make out where that is. Can you? I mean, you're more of a Florida guy.
Yeah,
can you kind of glean anything from it?
I can't really either. I think they just kind of use this as like an optics thing, because it really doesn't showcase it actually being in a park.
It's like Pandora.
It's like, yeah, they just utilize it to say this is what the land is going to look like. But I noticed this when we were actually at D23. Over on the left-hand side, there's a slide. So that looks like that there could be possibly like a jungle gym kind of thing for younger kids.
Yeah, see, I don't.
Now in the studio, there used to be the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids movie set adventure, but that was taken out, and I think that's where Toy Story Land is now, I believe.
Okay.
But now this could be older concept.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like this.
I don't like that either.
I don't like this. I've been very critical. I think that the DreamWorks land at Universal looks very cheap.
Yeah.
And like, you know, and this kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah. So, because what they're doing is they're putting in a slide that has the pattern of Sully, which it throws you out of actually being in the land, because when you're actually in Monstropolis, you're not going to see a slide that, you know.
Yeah, and it just feels very, I don't know, man.
Tacky.
I don't like when they do this whole like cheap kiddie stuff. Like, look, I called Universal out on that DreamWorks.
You did?
It looks like crap. Let's be honest. It looks like crap. This would look like crap too. So I'm not just, you know, hating on, you know, Universal. Like this is horrible. Like, hopefully they don't do this.
Yeah.
Now the big e-ticket or whatever they're going to put in here with this giant building, this looks all fantastic. The kiddie slide. No, if I want kiddie slides, you go to McDonald's.
Yeah.
Play Place or whatever it's called, right?
But it will offset to the e-ticket,
which is a coaster, the door coaster, which is Disney's been throwing this thing around, this concept around forever. I remember hearing about this in like the early 2000s, like 2002, 3 for DCA.
Right after the first movie premiered in 2001. But I think again with like the budgets and everything, that's when they did Mike and Sully to the rescue, because they had to get rid of the Superstar limo, best Disney attraction to ever grace on property.
Yeah, and I like the seating kind of configuration for this attraction. Like, you kind of have that free flowing.
Well, and because a lot of people were asking that then when they were going to do like a door vault kind of coaster based off of the door chase sequence.
Yeah,
a lot of people were saying, well, how would you do that? Like, do you sit in a regular car? Do you sit in something that's shaped like a door? How does it work? But to actually have a suspended under the track coaster as if you're being grabbed by like the claw conveyor belt, like the doors, and you're kind of like swinging along with it, that is like awesome.
And it looks like it'll be fairly family friendly. I mean, I don't want to, like I said, you don't want to get mentally married or get too in the weeds with the concept art.
Right.
I don't see any over the shoulder restraints in the art.
Yeah, I don't either. It seems like it's more like of a pull down, like,
right, which leads me to believe it will be thrilling for sure, but it's not going to be crazy intense.
Yeah, which is what makes me wonder if that's what's not going to replace Rock and Roller Coaster, because a lot of times people still love to have that thrill for the people who love thrills, because I love thrills, but then to replace a thrill with something of this nature, I feel like that they should keep Rock and Roller Coaster, but I mean, obviously, I think that they're going to change it out of Aerosmith, but keep the track layout and everything, and do this separately somewhere else. So that way, you have a more intense roller coaster for the thrill junkies,
right,
but then you have a family-friendly coaster as well.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I think it was our friend Alicia Stella. Now, I haven't been on Twitter that much lately, to be honest, but I remember scrolling through, and I remember her kind of figuring this out, that this could actually fit, though, in that.
Yeah, it could.
So we'll see. We're all kind of speculating here right now, and I think Disney is listening to feedback. Obviously, they do, because Josh's whole presentation was based on our feedback. He started the whole presentation saying there's no blue sky. So right there, I mean, they're listening. They are listening. So we'll see. They might be, with all the kerfluffle about the Rivers of America. Maybe they were going to get rid of Muppets. Maybe they're not now, because of the. You only have so many controversies at once.
Exactly.
So maybe,
But we also have to remember, folks, too, that Disney's Hollywood Studios, the park itself, is very unique in a way where they don't necessarily have the amount of space that, say, Magic Kingdom has, or Animal Kingdom, or even Epcot for that matter. Hollywood Studios is kind of gridlocked in between where Epcot is and where all those surrounding resort hotels are. So the amount of space is kind of to a minimum. Now, I'm not saying that Disney can't get creative. They very well could be.
Right.
There are several expansion pads within the park itself. I just don't know how big they are, if it would fit to this scale. But we also have the Star Cruiser area that could possibly, turn into something. And maybe they might cut down a little bit of the parking lot, because the parking lot for Hollywood Studios is quite big.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah. It's possible. It's just good. I wasn't expecting this
I wasn't either
for Hollywood Studios. I wasn't expecting like a huge announcement for Hollywood Studios. Yeah. So we'll see. And I think we're kind of coming down to the end here. I don't think there's too much.
Oh, and this was the model for like the track layout.
Yeah. Interesting, man. I don't know. I'm excited. This looks interesting. There's no loops or anything. So I think it's going to be a family kind of thing.
What I actually think this actually looks like is what they wanted to do with Soarin'. They wanted to kind of have like a conveyor belt kind of like moving into space. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's very cool. And then the Millennium Falcon mission. So
yeah.
Interesting stuff, man. Overall thoughts before we go.
Yeah, again, just like with Disneyland, I'm very optimistic. I'm very excited for what's to come for Walt Disney World. I think this is actually the first time in a long time that we're seeing a lot of construction.
First time in forever.
First time in forever, yes. That we're seeing a lot of like construction and progress being moved with Walt Disney World and Disneyland kind of simultaneously, and I think it's a breath of fresh air to actually finally see that, whether it's in DCA, whether it's in Animal Kingdom, what have you, both resorts are getting love from the company, from WDI, them listening to us as fans, but also too, before we go as well, you said you wanted to touch upon the cruise line.
Oh yeah. So what are your thoughts? You're a huge cruise guy.
Yes.
4 new ships were announced at this expo. Okay. 4 new ships. Okay. So a lot of stuff is getting lost in the conversation on Twitter because people are so zeroed in on just focusing on the Rivers of America stuff.
Yeah.
But 4 new ships, that's significant. What are your thoughts on that?
So for me, yeah, I kind of had an idea that when they had mentioned the $60 billion capital investments that they wanted to do with the parks, 20% of that was going towards Disney Cruise Line. And they utilized the term expanding. Well, how do you expand a cruise line? You add more ships. And in the Horizons poster, it shows 2 cruise ships. So I assumed, they're probably going to add 2. Well, Josh tomorrow comes out on stage, starts talking about Disney Cruise Line. And he said that there's, more on the horizon, no pun intended, for the Disney Cruise Line. And this was actually quite funny and clever at the same time. It tickled us that when he said, not only am I going to promise you this, and he stopped there, the lights went down.
Yeah.
And then the spotlight goes to the center of the arena when one of my favorite kind of boy bands, All for One, come out.
R&B, I would say.
R&B, yeah. Sing their smash hit #1 single, I Swear. So I thought that was kind of very funny. Like, it play on words of DeMauro saying, I'm going to do more than promise, but I swear to you, this is what's going to happen. And then after they sing the song,
kind of almost, I felt like that moment was hilarious and almost kind of like he was almost kind of trolling a little bit.
Yeah,
like y'all are kind of doubting, that that stuff is like concrete.
Yeah,
and here's All for One to sing I Swear. It felt a little like a troll drop. Now I'm not saying that in a bad way because I thought it was fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
it was fucking hilarious. But I do feel it was a little bit like,
oh, it's I think so.
You know what I'm saying?
I think so. But then Josh came back on stage, and All for One was still standing there, and he said that the name of their group, All for One, has a relevance to the announcement of the cruise ship. I'm thinking, like, what is he talking about? And I thought, well, maybe it's going to be just one cruise ship. But he said, and then they kind of all sang in harmony. He said, we're making, and then they go 1, 2, 3, 4 cruise ships. And then it literally, he showcases on the screen 13 cruise ships. And all 4 have been signed and inked with the agreement with Disney Cruise Line and Meyer Werft. That is in, I believe it's Papenburg, Germany. That's where majority of the Disney cruise ships have been built. I believe starting with the Disney Dream and the Disney Fantasy, and they have signed the agreement that they are going to build the 4 new ships off the back of building the Wish, the Treasure, the Destiny, and then also to the ship that Chapek had bought, which was 75% done, which is now the Disney Adventure. And then also OLC, Oriental Land Company, is building their own ship for Tokyo. So all that together, that's 13 Disney cruise ships in total. Yeah,
no, it's huge. That's what I'm saying. This is a huge investment into the experiences division, and the cruise lines and everything. So really exciting stuff. But yeah, we're gonna close it out. George, any final thoughts before we go?
But yeah, I'm very excited for Walt Disney World. I'm excited for Disneyland. I'm excited for the Disney Cruise Line. There's also some things that were mentioned for the international parks, which we will touch upon.
We'll do a video
in
on
a later video.
Because there's some good stuff on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just so just before we go, there was a Lion King attraction announced for Paris, and people were flipping out because the artwork showed live action Lion King, and why aren't they doing the animated one? Turns out it is the animated one. We got confirmation. It is based on the 1994 animated film. So crisis averted. Go ahead.
So there's a lot on the horizon, as again, no pun intended, for Disney and the Disney parks. So as long as they keep on making it, we'll continue to go. We'll continue to cover it on the channel, and definitely follow along this journey with us, because it's going to be a very exciting one. I feel like, because we both walked out of D23.
I was happy,
very satisfied, very pleased.
I wish I would have stayed off Twitter. I would have just kept my high, because the Twitter was like, oh god, unbelievable.
Like we were at such a high, and dude, they just like dropped it,
and it wasn't just us. Like everyone was super excited, and I mean, it was like, oh my gosh. And I understand. Look, I'm not oblivious to the idea. Like you're in the Honda Center, and it's hype fucking city in there. Yeah, it's like a rock concert with these announcements. So I get it. There is an element of that. Right. That we have to also acknowledge, you know what I'm saying? Right. So people at home aren't getting that element of it. They're getting just the news. And we're getting it in this fucking bombastic fashion. So that's going to add to our excitement. I'm not going to be ignorant of that, you know what I'm saying? But these were good announcements. I mean, if you look at them, I mean, this good announcements, big announcements, aggressive, you know what I'm saying? So it's cool. I'm happy, but if you're not, that's fine. But personally, I was satisfied with what we got. So we'll see.
Yeah, we respect your opinion. you're just wrong.
Yeah, exactly. You're wrong, but it's okay. No one's perfect, right? No one's perfect. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. George, if you let everybody know where they can find you on social media, sir.
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There we go. Comment down below with all your thoughts on everything we discussed today for Walt Disney World, Animal Kingdom, Magic Kingdom, which I'm sure a lot of people want to talk about. Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, the cruise line, anything you want to discuss, comment down below. We would love to hear from you. And as always, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye.